At least we're actually here on Wednesday this time for a Wednesday with Walter. At least it's not Thursday. So we're off to a better start. A lot more stupidity on things that we talked about last week that we said we were going to get to this week, and just or we said was going to happen and has happened, whatever the damn word is. And then there's other things that I've talked about that you haven't, that like, started out, make it easy. We can get all Walter's feelings on some stuff that's happened. And I mean, no better way than to start out with Joe Biden. He's going to get rid of that summer ethanol ban. He's going to waive it so people can say, they're going to save 10 cents a gallon at, the pump, but it only is like only 2% of gas stations are even capable of doing that. And he's killing our strategic oil reserve, which, because he's just dumb and he has zero, like none of them have any intellect. But what's your take on all of that stupid? Because that's very, very, very stupid. Very stupid. And he's getting credit for it.
The idea that he, let me rephrase how I say that. The idea behind the ethanol was a great concept when it first came out. I was in high school when the whole thing came about.
Yeah.
And I remember going for my apprenticeship stuff, going to auto shows, especially SEMA, because at SEMA, it's more geared towards the aftermarket companies, the bolt-on performance companies. That's more what that show is geared for. Whereas you have the National Auto Show, which is geared towards, hey, we're the manufacturers. This is what we're putting out this year. Well, at SEMA, I learned the understanding and have numerous times since then, after getting out of school and further education classes, learned that ethanol, one, the percentage of power that you get from it is less. So when you're towing, instead of towing 16 or 17,000 pounds, you're going to be towing 8 or 9, maybe 10 if you're the luckiest person on earth. It doesn't give you the power. Also, it doesn't give you the longevity.
Which we are not.
You will spend less at the pump per fill up without a question. And that's proven at the very few gas stations there is. Whereas, and I know there's not a lot of states like Michigan that have a lot of it. No. For some reason, we have a lot of ethanol. And
well,
maybe not much.
Look where you are, though.
Right now, COVID.
Yeah, but look where you are, though. I mean, right there.
Well, yeah, I mean, you got Michigan, you got Indiana. I mean
Iowa, you're pretty close to Iowa. Yeah. I mean, like
between us, Indiana, the middle section of Illinois, and then over into Iowa and Missouri, there's a lot of corn through down in that stretch. Yep. This is a lot of corn.
You're in the highway.
But we also have a lot of biorefineries between Michigan and Indiana. That's another thing too I've noticed. But
2,300 gas stations for the number 2,300.
But even like here in Michigan, when you pay less and you get the same nominal amounts of fuel as you're getting when you buy the regular shit, you will get less length out of it. When I say that, not only are you losing power for towing, you will lose your longevity. Your mileage per gallon will go down, guaranteed. Mm-hmm. So if you take consideration like our car with the suspension, everything, it's really smooth ride. It's good car for fuel. Roughly get 24, 23 in the highway with the suspension I have and the tires. So I'm doing pretty good for what it is. I couldn't drive that and afford to drive it if I was using ethanol. I couldn't afford the maintenance of my car if I use ethanol. The engine maintenance alone would come close to double. So I asked a simple question to anyone that wants to promote it, such as Joe Biden even. And unless they can prove me wrong, probably shouldn't say Joe Biden. Let me ask Jen Psaki that one. Or what's his guy? Ron Klain. Either one of them two can answer, please.
At least
I don't want Granholm to answer because she couldn't answer anything when she was a governor here. So I know she can't answer anything now.
She absolutely can't. By the way, I've seen.
Might be a laugh.
I'm pretty sure she was. What do you want me to do? Wave a magic wand? Like, no, we just want you to do your job. Oh, I can't give you those numbers.
Well, I'm still
kind of in charge. You're in charge of the energy lady, so you should
exactly.
You should know how many barrels we're producing and how many we're buying. Like it's a pretty easy number.
They should look at her track history when she was governor in Michigan. And look what happened when it came to energy.
That's all they got to do. Look who's running it. I mean, they put every idiot. They found the biggest idiots they could on the planet. and put them all into one place. Like, well, if we're going to try to fuck this place up, we are going to get the people that are best at it and do it as quick as humanly possible.
Don't worry, her cronies in Michigan are going to feel it this year. I've got a gut feeling. Also, don't have the thing in front of me. We'll talk about it next week. We will talk about voting next week.
Oh yeah, there's all kinds of stuff that's been coming out about that. I don't care.
I have, well, that group I'm part of, that PIME group. I got a new updated image 2 days ago, and it talks about all of the updated Zuckerbucks. And what's that group he's part of? He founded? Oh, Eric. The election thing.
Yeah.
Those two.
$500 million.
There's, I'll give you the numbers next week. There's states that's already banned. No longer will Eric be allowed to practice in that state. And there's, I think it was as of yesterday, as of Monday, I think there was 9 or 10 states currently in the process of getting everything approved to get rid of both.
All I'm gonna say before we
Michigan was surprisingly on that list.
Hey, all I'm gonna do before we move on to other things,
yes,
is I don't care who you are, where you're from, what you did, as long as you listen to me. And when you're looking at votes suddenly at like 3 or 4 in the morning, and well over 1 million votes get counted when no one's even supposed to be counting anything, and every single one of them is for Joe Biden across like 3 or 4 states, not one vote for anyone else. For the Drews of the world listening to this that told me, well, he was winning in the mail-in category by 85%. What New York City, Washington, D.C., liberal ass Los Angeles and San Francisco, they still had Trump voters in there. No matter where you are, there's always going to be one for the other side.
There's always going to be a Chuck in every city. There you go. There will be a Chuck.
He's not getting over 1 million votes all on his own, like in the middle of when everyone's supposed to be done. And that's all I'm going to say about voting. But if you don't think that looks stupid, or how many we could get in, we'll get into all the laws they broke. Between your state, Pennsylvania really broke all.
I mean, between Pennsylvania and Michigan, there was
the amount of laws the states broke in their own constitutions just to do what they did.
We'll go into detail on it next week, but I know Michigan right off the gate, out of the gate, the last month before the election, there was 4 or 5 constitutional laws that were broken.
Yeah, so Pennsylvania shattered, in Pennsylvania, they're not even supposed to be able to, let's just say, change it within 2 weeks of an election, and they were.
I was going to say one of the states has,
and they did it the day before, and they didn't even have the legislators do it. They had people that can't make laws do it. That's all I'm gonna say right here. So on that, save it for next week, because we have other things to talk about, and we sure as hell will not. We will not get to anything else.
No. But back to what you were saying, Granholm is a very
worthless.
That's probably the worst candidate he could honestly pick out of all the people in the country for that. I mean, she was trying to kill Line 5 when she was.
Yeah, I mean, there's that, and then he picked Pete to be the transportation guy. I mean, he literally went, who's the least qualified to do this?
The only thing that's going to be much worse is when he tries to run again in 2024 and Whitmer's his vice president. You watch.
I mean, it's just.
I'm not even joking. I see it coming.
Pete's unqualified. Granholm's unqualified. Yellen's unqualified. Bernie's in charge of our damn budget. Last time I checked,
that explains everything.
How much you spend away? What? We're fine. Yeah, because you'll be dead by the time.
Never mind the 20% inflation rate we'll have next year. The 18% interest rates we'll have next year on homes and loans. So kiss all investment energy in our country goodbye.
Yeah.
Oh, and welcome to recession. It'll happen next year too.
Yeah.
If it doesn't start at the end of this year.
I mean, while we're on the inflation thing, I mean, we might as well. I know the number's way higher than they're giving us.
We skipped a couple things there, but hey.
I know that maybe we could just move up after this one, but as you went there, inflation numbers way higher than they're telling us. If you look at simple things like, again, the 5 dozen thing of eggs at Walmart. I don't know what it costs up there because every state's prices are, slightly different depending on things.
Well, I
They
know.
used to cost me $4.97. I went in there the other day. It's up to $13. Like that's 160% increase
Okay, well,
for the
so
cheapest eggs known to mankind. Because Walmart's literally just please take
I'm
these.
I'm glad that you brought
160%.
eggs, 'cause that's the best example I can give in Michigan. That will be across the country.
Pre-sliced deli meat that they
Go to
pre-bagged
Sam-
for us.
I used to
Over
spend
double.
$5.72. Sorry, $5.76 on the box of eggs.
So
The
it was-
big box.
Yeah.
The
So it
big
was,
box.
so it was like,
Yeah.
about $1 difference. Not
When
bad.
the week before Putin invaded Ukraine,
Which is getting blamed for it all.
it went to $13.68.
Yeah. I mean,
The last time I was in Sam's, I looked and it was over. Oh, use. I don't
Well,
want to say what it was ridiculous.
and again, Drew
Sorry.
Drew in all of his wisdom was like, well, sometimes the price of things go up. Like Drew, what? January 19th, 2021. The price of the same amount of pre-sliced deli meat cost me $2.15, $2.20, depending on if they put an extra slice in there. January 21st, 2021, day after inauguration, it was up over $5. I'm sorry. Suddenly the price of pre-sliced deli anything didn't suddenly, the water jugs that we buy, they're up 40, 50 cents. Eggs up 160%. Like
any of the Drews out there that don't believe that,
get
a hold of us. Chuck will give you a really good offer on coming to find out just how bad it is. And if they wait 6 months and come October 15th, I'll show them the worst thing, because I'm going to take them to an Indian community, which will at that point be living worse than what they're living in third world countries. They're going to be rationing foods off in Indian communities by the end of this fall. Yeah. Mark my words.
Like
the American Indian communities in this state will be struggling.
Well, that's because they're trying to just kill everybody that they can. But yeah, inflation, I hate and all the people parroting the Putin price hike on everything. It's not real. This is between violent spending. Now, granted, 2020 with the first stimulus and all that, if they just gave us money and didn't waste a lot of it on the Kennedy Center and all that, we wouldn't be nearly as bad of a boat. That did have something to play with it, but the $9 trillion.
What the hell did the Kennedy Center need $432 million in one shot for?
Yeah, they spent $9 trillion since then.
When no one can go anywhere.
They're $996 billion in the negative before we spent any money in fiscal year 2021. And Joe took over, and then they've spent $9 trillion since then. Guess what? That's why we have inflation, because they're spending $9 trillion that we didn't have. Ergo, they're printing the money, and it's fake money. Ergo, the value of the dollar goes down. Ergo, the price of everything goes up. Believe it or not, that's actually how inflation works, because it was up.
I do have the numbers of your example.
It went up 5% last year. It went from actually, I think it was 1.9 or something. 1.9. I have it wrote down underneath me. I'm just not looking, but it was at 1924, something like that, before when Biden took over, and it was up over 7 by the end of the year. That's called spending and spending.
It was I think it was 1.8 or 1.9, like you said, and then
because it stayed there for 2 years.
Yeah, and then boom,
stayed there for 2 years.
I know it was over 18 months.
Yeah, the worst was back in 2010, but again, we had the recession and the housing market imploded, and pretty much everything that's about to happen again is about to happen again. And it's amazing that all the people that were making the decisions then are right back in charge, and it's happening.
Well, the sad part is I want people to think about this. Look how hard NAFTA hit Michigan. And then I'm going to use Michigan and Pennsylvania and Wisconsin. I'm going to use us rust states because they're great examples.
Don't forget Ohio.
That's why I said rust states. You look at the NAFTA, you look at the 2008 recession, which really wasn't even in 2008 for Michigan. That shit started in 2003 for Michigan, because that's when all the auto industries really got the effect of NAFTA. Then all of a sudden, in a matter of a couple of years, everything was leaving Michigan. Everything automotive related.
A lot of the states. Well, I'll just leave it at that.
And the whole Rust Belt felt it like that.
Imploded.
And then, how do people think it's going to be now? If this is going to be worse than the 2008 recession, how do you think it's going to hit states like Michigan and Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and North? What do you think is going to happen to them states? I'm going to even include Kentucky into that one. What do you think it's going to do to them states?
I found the numbers. 2016 and 27, it was at 2017 it was at 2.1. 2018 it went down to 1.9. 2019 it was up to 2.3. 2020 was down to 1.4. 2021 was at 7, and right now we're sitting up over 8.5%.
Yeah,
That's just the number that they're giving us. Like,
well, I mean, your
number,
example, though,
the actual number is way higher.
Well, your simple example, simple shit that everybody at home would feel the effects of. We talked about this the other day. You and I did.
No,
Veggies, as of last Thursday, veggies were up 82% this year.
No.
Huh? No. Wheat, 40 more percent.
That's the one that's
40.
killing us. You know how much? Because we pretty much, the dumb thing, we export pretty much all of our wheat to China and then have to import wheat from other countries.
Look, this will be a conversation for another day, but I'm going to make this simple statement so people understand this.
Ass backwards.
If we cut NAFTA apart and cut our ties with China, our first 6 months would be rough because we'd have to invest some serious cash flow.
Yeah.
But I promise you, a year and a half later, when you hit that 2-year mark, we would be better than we've ever been.
China will be dead.
And China would fail. And then that means also Russia would not only fail in their little Ukraine adventures,
We'll get there.
the Taiwan adventures wouldn't start. Russia would collapse physically and financially because it wouldn't. They're already going to collapse physically because they've already lost 25% of their equipment in that war.
Whatever you want to call it.
I'm going to call it a war.
It's called an
or an
excursion.
act of idiocy. You take your pick.
An excursion of stupidity. An excursion of grand ignorance. Of a grand clusterfuck.
While we're on that, there's one more quick topic before we leave the inflation. Amazon. Now, actually, I am going to bring that beer thing up because this affects that beer thing because they sell all their stuff on Amazon.
Damn Jeff Bezos.
Yep. So Amazon will be leveling a 5% fuel and inflation fee on all merchants that use its shipping services, which if you sell on Amazon, you're almost contracted and guaranteed to have to use their shipping service. I just want to put that out there. Yep. In March, our U.S. consumers' prices, this is all per Bloomberg. That was the closest document I could find with what I needed in it. The surcharge will kick until April 28th. Then they have a consumer surcharge that raged up to 8.5 in March, which
excuse me,
that was only from the year before, which was up from the year before that.
Yep.
Also to note, that was the biggest jump since 1981.
Yeah.
When Reagan took over all the garbage. Yeah.
Yep.
Interesting.
And he got the hostages back, don't you know?
Mm-hmm. He did. Airlines are also going to be raising tickets. But at the same time, thanks to yesterday's court ruling, depending on appeals, those ticket prices might come down because more people will be able to do things.
Yeah, less idiocy. Like, I think that's great how they all pushed.
Assuming no idiot.
Yeah, it's amazing though. They pushed for all this to happen, and then it started happening. They all started to go, like, well, if you just listen.
Right now, this is what's going to help you get frustrated with the inflation. Airlines are raising their ticket prices. Uber's is raising theirs.
Yep.
Lyft is raising theirs. They both added a fuel surcharge in the last month. FedEx Corporation and UPS also have increased their shipping prices, which means a box that I would have sent you a year ago that cost $75 will now cost probably 140 or 130.
If you didn't put that giant axle nut in the box, which I believe it was, I mean, it wouldn't have weighed 2,000 pounds.
I had to.
Oh, I know, but I'm just
it wouldn't register anything otherwise.
I'm just saying, like, a big old nut. Carry on. Put a smile on my face.
So that was the only thing is their FedEx and the UPS, at least their increases are only going to be affected the higher the weight goes. So that theirs is kind of going to just be a slight increase. You're only going to notice it on every package a little bit. Whereas
5%.
The other example, real quick, since we're talking about this, a gentleman that owns a brewing company in Phoenix, Arizona, ordered a tank last year for distillation process. What do they call them? The flow tanks, the ones that flow.
No,
I'll hit it in a minute.
No,
anyways,
my brain's on other things right now.
He ordered his tank. They told him it was only gonna be a couple weeks. It ended up taking a year. He was quoted just under $3,000, so he expected a $3,000 charge on his shipping bill. When it got there to US, which it ended up shipping from China to the LA port. Not only did it take forever to get here, then he got it and it cost him over $15,000 in shipping. That's over a 500% increase on shipping from what he was quoted. Well over 500%. And
it's happening all over the place, sadly.
Who's going to explain? I mean,
how do you?
Oh, and not to mention that with everything going on here, when he got it quoted, his quote to get it installed was almost, we're going to say for conversation purposes, 5,000. It ended up costing over 10,000 to get it installed.
Like everything.
By the time it got here.
Yeah, and it's not going to get any better. It's going to keep getting worse.
It's going to get dumb. There was one more thing out of that article though I wanted to read you about Amazon.
It's already done.
Right here. The other two things, one of them is those include doubling. So sorry, I gotta back up 1 second. Amazon said it has made big investments since the start of the pandemic to meet surging demand. They've included a doubling the capacity as far as people and all their materials. They added 750,000 employees during the pandemic and raising the average Amazon warehouse employee wage from $18 to $15. Or sorry, from $15 to $18.
We almost had some liberal logic right there.
You
got a pay raise, what, 15? What,
I have a feeling because now people are trying to push for unionization. Those people are going to regret it because I got a feeling it's going to go from 18 back down to 15. Just my side note conversation here. And then the other thing I wanted to bring up was this lady right here. I'm going to read you 3 paragraphs. Stacy Mitchell, co-executive director of Institute for Local Self-Reliance, an advocacy group for small independent businesses, said the new fee has potential to be problematic when it comes to antitrust because Amazon locks you into using this service, referring to the shipping situation. It's absolutely an antitrust vulnerability for Amazon because that's what monopolies do is they corner the market and raise prices, i.e. Consumers Energy, Michigan. The frequent Amazon critic said the company took a 34% cut of each merchant's sale on the site in 2021, up from 19% in 2014. And that the new fuel charge will push it even higher. We absolutely will need to raise prices on our toys, said Molson, who's Via Heart Toy Company sells education toys and other products on Amazon. Some sellers cannot because consumers are not accepting the newer prices. So what she's referring to is they have certain materials they sell for educational purposes that they literally, if they raise the price one time, they'll stop selling. Like they will not sell. And there's a few other people that's already said this about the same thing. Like, hey, if we raise our prices, our products are done selling on your site because nobody will buy. So they're paying more and taking less of a pay cut. I mean, they're taking more of a pay cut. So it is Amazon monopolizing it and taking money from the little guys.
Bezos. I think he got where he is. You got to step on necks, and well, no one's going to stop him. None of the people that can stop him give a shit. So I wonder why, because they're all in on it too.
What's he going to do when Musk drops the satellites out of the sky? This thing.
We're getting on to him after. We got to get to Title 42.
Yeah.
Again, numbers came out for March finally, 221,303, which beat his all-time record for President Biden, which was last July, 213,593, which is terrifying because, yeah, that's normally around the heavy time of the year during the summer, and we already shattered his stuff, putting his, total so far in what, 15 months, 16 months, whatever the hell, technically, at 2,795,640. So in 15 months, he's shattered Trump's last 3 years by just by over 800,000 people. And that's terrifying. And that's just the ones we're catching. It doesn't include getaways and people that they don't see. And there's 42 people on the terror watch list. Just we weren't getting in.
Remember last month, the apprehension numbers were near 10,000 from, I don't remember what they were. We were talking about it yesterday. They were just under 10,000 apprehended and expelled and deported under Title 42 for March. Not good. And I don't know if you want to bring it up. We can bring up those terrorist things real quick.
But
Your thought.
I mean, I don't care. I just got to say.
I mean, it's going to hit with Title 42 at some point.
I'm just going to say, like I gave it all yesterday. I'm just saying, in order for, some people in certain states like Michigan, they couldn't even like go outside to cut their grass. There are people that we saw getting arrested for playing at a park by themselves during, all this stuff. You're not allowed to have a job if you're not vaccinated. You can't do this if you're not vaccinated. Little schools have
We got more trees than most states.
8-9-year-olds have to be vaccinated or they can't go to school. Be it these guys are crossing the border from third world shit sandwiches, crossing all that land, going through all kinds of dirty, nasty shit, dealing with all kinds of dirty, nasty shit. And then they don't have to be vaccinated or anything. And they get a cell phone and a bus, plane, or train ticket and send wherever they want. But during all this, they're bringing back mask mandates in some places, but these guys are just see you later, bye.
The first part you said, and
it has nothing to do with race. It has nothing to do with race.
Was the schools,
common sense,
and not being able to do anything outside here in Michigan. Let's talk about that for a second. You couldn't go to the park without a mask on, and then if there was people, you still had to be 6 foot away. I'm sorry, I live in Michigan. We're one of probably the most treed states in the country, if not one of the top 2 or top 3 states with trees in the country. We got pretty fucking clean air here. There's no way to look around that. A lot of water and a lot of trees, a lot of filtration. There's no way around that. You're going to tell me painting my house outside by myself in the middle of summer is a health risk?
But they can cross the border and do whatever they want.
But yet you can bring 275 unaccompanied children from the Mexican border, dump them up here at a Commonwealth troubled children's community facility, right? Okay. This is a campus, I might add, for troubled children, which is a great thing. It does great things.
Yeah.
They dumped 275 unaccompanied children from the Mexico border, whether they be Hispanic or one of the other 159 countries that came here. Dump them. And now they're asking for people from all over the state to come work there for anything, dude, for translators from this language to that language. You're talking hundreds of languages they're wanting you to do. They want counselors, they want social workers for. I'm like, veterans just want to have a VA that gives a shit about them within a 30-minute drive of their house.
I don't care about it.
We can't get that. But you're telling me you can literally, I'm going to use this word because it's the right word, shit millions upon millions of dollars and just dump it out of nowhere at Star Commonwealth just to take care of unaccompanied migrant children who shouldn't have even be here because they're here illegally. But now, me being a Marine and me being a good Christian, whether I show it or not, I try to do it. I think, you know what? They're kids. Help them. I have a moral base. They're kids. Help them. But I also, you want to locate their parents? You know what? I'm on board with that too. Let's find their parents. But we're not giving the kids back to them. When we find their parents, I want their parents brought here, arrested for child endangerment and child abandonment. I want them to send each one of them to prison here that we're housing their children. We're taking care of their kids. They're going to serve prison right here in this state. And then we're going to go back to the way it used to be in this state. You're going to use them prison inmates. You're going to make them go out. They're going to clean up the highways. They're going to do your trash pickup. You ain't going to have to adopt the highway and make old people or Boy Scouts or 4-H clubs get out here and clean the sides of highways no more. Get them people out there. They do it in Kentucky. Great. Guy stands at each end of the group with shotguns. Go ahead, run. You're getting shot. It's simple. It's efficient and it's effective. Do it. I'm sorry. That's a spiel that has nothing to do with this, but the money wasted when it comes to that topic is so angry. I feel like any human, even my great grandmother would have lost her mind.
This is why we have inflation, boys and girls.
Exactly.
Billions.
The wall would have been cheaper. The wall would have been
cheaper than one day of this.
1,000 times cheaper.
Like the wall would have been cheaper than one day of this. One.
Yeah.
Who knows?
One day, and that's just it. When they talk about one day's numbers, they don't include everything. They don't include the guy cleaning up the poop on the floors. They don't include the guy taking the trash and having to be added. Yeah, speaking of that, right there. The trash companies. Don't even think about that. What about the trash companies having to hire a guy in each area to cover all the extra trash because all these extra people that shouldn't even be here anyways are here producing more tax. Oh, what about the guys that's got to be hired now to go clean up the sites? They don't include all the funds that get spent because of their ignorance.
Yeah, hotel rooms.
Sorry. I got
hotel
back
rooms.
off.
Well, Jesus Christ! All I did was ask you like how stupid Title 42 and getting wherever it was. You're the one.
No, you're good.
Goddamn tirade.
Good. That's just it's something I've been holding in because Christ. I see it every day here, and I don't have a choice. We don't even get to say no to it here. Like there's nothing. People talk about the dropping off. I get it. You know what? And I'm at the point where I'm somebody that would tell Governor Abbott and Governor DeSantis, I'm an American that is tired of this. I have friends who died for this country, and if they were here right now, they would tell you, I don't care if one wants to go or not, load all of them up and take them to Washington, D.C. All of them. Oh. Don't give them a choice. We don't get a choice in them coming here. So guess what? They get to go one spot, D.C.
Yeah, but then don't you know they have more constitutional rights than we do?
I know. It's very hurtful.
They can come here criminally and be literally human trafficked to the border by cartels, but then we can't traffic their asses up to the Capitol.
And it's not even
send them to Wilmington.
Us telling all of them, hey, come here, get on this bus. You're going to Washington, D.C., where the promises that you're being made are coming from. We're taking you there. So that putting them on that bus and taking them to Washington, D.C. is 10,000 times safer than what Joe Biden's allowing them to do under illegal immigration.
Send them to Wilmington, Delaware.
I think that's what's going to happen. I think Abbott's going to use D.C. and DeSantis is going to use Delaware. And they're just going to.
Like what? You can't leave the city of Wilmington. What? Big house, big wall all the way around to it. Go find that, which we paid for that wall too. Paid for Biden's wall.
How come he can have a wall, but I can't?
Because we have people with the city that we have to go through red tape to get a wall.
I don't even want a wall. I just simply asked to put an 8-foot fence up with some barbed wire on top in the back. That's all I asked for. Can't even get a guy to come out and look at it to approve it. Commies. Sorry.
Anyway, that's a beautiful, beautiful tirade.
Yeah.
Move on to something nice.
There you go, red flag.
Elon and Twitter, you know.
Oh yeah. Oh, quick note on that.
Hopefully,
as of yesterday. Oh, sorry.
They're going to play hardball and let everyone buy as many stocks as they can at a lower
really
rate.
Fun.
I think he should just be like, hey, I'm done, and sell off all of his stock and watch the whole company tank. Like, if you guys are going to act like children, he gave you guys almost double what your company's worth.
Well, that's just it.
For an offer, and you guys are that big of children. Wonder how you know they're all children?
I think
because everyone on the left is losing their mind. People on the left are exploding, which means it's actually a really good thing to have because, then they can't just say whatever they want. And well, Elon's like, I have to dump your stock. What? They're going to play childlike games? Prove them you can play more games. Like, I got y'all, homie. I got y'all.
I hate to do this, Steve. We got to pause. Something just happened upstairs.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'll keep talking.
No, Taylor just texted me, so I need you to hurry.
Go faster. Yeah, but yeah, the whole poison pill thing for, with the guys on Twitter to buy as many like stocks as they needed on a lower value so they could get more. So, to help build up their stock levels in the company to diminish the value of his. I mean, they could own all that they want, but what happens when he dumps? If he dumps his 10%, it's right at 10, right under. What happens if he doesn't? Where does it leave him? I mean, they're already killing themselves with everything. I mean, like, their value has gone down dramatically throughout, the years because they're so scummy, and we all know they're scummy. Anyone knows they're scummy, terrible. And yet, they keep being right there saying, well, we're good for this and we're good. Like, you're not good for anything. We know you're not good for anything. Anyone that's been on there knows you're not good for anything. You can see naked women all over the place on there. But, you say anything like you're anyone on the right and you say just about anything, something, you get thrown off or shadow banned or whatever you want, algorithm blocked, whatever you want to call it. Like, all kinds of dumb things happen. And, he gave them an out. I mean, I don't think they're going to like what happens from it because, if he dumps his stock, I mean, they're screwed. I think that's a lot of stock going away. And again, anyone that's freaking out that bad about it, you know exactly why they're freaking out about it that bad, because it obviously is something that would be good and for the world and bad for the left, because they literally can't get away with whatever they want to say anymore, and there would actually be stuff on both sides. And we all know that's a problem for them, people being able to have like a voice again, besides for them to push something besides their narrative, which their whole narrative is exploding and imploding and anything else kind of imploding you want. And they don't like that. I mean, it sucks to be them. I mean, they're the ones that kept doing this for so long. Like, so many times you can keep poking someone with a stick before
Hey-o.
an explosion happens. And sadly for them, I'm pretty sure with the way the left's been for a couple of years, especially on Twitter and other platforms like that, and then the election, the way that we've all been talked down to and treated, like I'm pretty sure that come November, what their day of reckoning is gonna come. I mean, I've seen their poll numbers between everybody, and crime rates going up and everything. All of it's bad, and if they just mess with Elon a little bit more, I mean, Elon can dump all of his stocks, and then what the hell do you guys do? Because he gave you offered you way more money than that thing will ever be worth in its current state.
Yeah. Well,
I would have taken the money.
Yeah.
But
what's
able to talk.
Brodsky's name that always wants to pick a fight with him? Elon Musk. What's that chick? Warren. Elizabeth Warren. Okay.
Pocahontas.
I want you to think about how many politicians right now are Democrats that are up for election this year that are going, I'm not even going to attempt to run. And they're stepping out completely.
Oh, there's
that is a lot.
I think there's at least over 24 Democrats that are like, nope, what?
Because they know the wave of anger that's getting ready to come out this year is
and it happens every time. I mean, if you look at it,
did you go over the details yet of the new offer?
No, but the way it's going, I mean, this happened before though. Clinton won, they started doing all kinds of dumb stuff, and then the Republicans took back everything, and then it happened under Obama after the first couple of years of stupid. There was a great tidal wave of just, are you fucking kidding me? And I mean, this one is like even worse than that. Like, how the hell you could be worse than Obama in 3 months, hell, day one. Like, I'll never understand that. But I mean, it's convenient that him and Hillary and Jen Psaki's and the first husband all managed to catch COVID around the same time, when none of them should actually physically be really anywhere near one another.
The thing of it is, though, is it's guaranteed. It's almost a guarantee, not guaranteed, but the Republicans are going to take back this year. The question is, and this is something that Newt Gingrich said.
Good old Newt.
Saturday. I'm pretty sure it was Saturday. I seen him say this in an interview. He said that it's great because we'll probably win it back. He says, but the thing of it is he says, I said this years ago, and he says, I hope they listen and learn from their mistakes. When they take it back this time, will they not only take it back, do the changes, but then continue to keep doing those changes and promises for the American people? He says, this is an opportunity for us to show that not only can Republicans take control and change things, but we can take control, change things for the better, and continue for the better.
Yeah, but we'll see. And again, whatever happens with Elon and Twitter, I mean, you probably have more new details than I do. I already talked about just their children and dump your stock and watch them all like their heads actually explode. It's kind of what Steve Jobs did, isn't it?
Yeah.
How did he get back his baby that they stole from him? He dumped like 100 million shares. I'm back. What? You're fired. You're fired. You're fired. You're definitely fired. But and you, especially you, why? Because you were there the whole time. You can go fuck yourself.
I don't blame him for doing what he did.
Clearing house. Like bye.
So I seen the new bid information yesterday. He's down to 15 billion now. It's his offer with a partnership with other people. But my thing is they showed this yesterday at close. His bid offer was higher per share than what it closed at.
I got the little ticker on the bottom of the screen after. Yeah,
and I have a feeling he's thinking about purchasing some more right now. Just side conversation I've heard, potential buying 6 or 7 more percent. My thing is he's trying to do that, which still is pretty good. But my ultimate thing is I think he's just gonna go and go and go and try. He's gonna be like, okay, nobody listens, so I'm gonna dump my stock. We're gonna close this thing down. I think that's what he's gonna do.
Yeah, my bad. Put it on there on
I
the page on
personally,
Facebook. I thought, what? They keep playing with what? He's just going to dump his stock, but either he's getting the company,
and if he dumps, he will fold them.
Either he gets the company, or no one's going to have a company.
And I told Taylor this the other day when I was listening to a thing on the radio. I would personally just buy what, I mean, he's at what, 9 point something right now. I'd buy the 10 point whatever he needs to equal 20% and say, look, sell me the rest at this price, or tomorrow I dump my stock and bye Twitter.
Oh, what?
If he dumped 20% at once, it's over.
Like, yeah, well, you guys are literally crashing tomorrow. It'd be like fun with Dick and Jane. You walk in there and they're burning everything. Yeah, like that'll be you. But I hope he does. But
I would really do that if I
like
would.
You could see naked women and gangbang videos on Twitter in your feed, but you can't be a conservative and say anything or you get thrown off.
Well, it's not even that. He made the comment. He said you got guys that are
just a horrific double standard. Yeah,
in the Middle East, killing them on live video feed. He says, but you got people like Tucker Carlson and that other lady I told you about, Miranda Devine.
Oh, I love Miranda.
She got canceled off of Twitter all because she said that, hey, this is a legit thing. All she did.
Huh.
Look what that got her. Now with that, look what it got her office, her fellow employee.
Everyone like they're going after everyone. That's like when, like they were spewing all their BS during like 4 years, and they get to keep saying it now. They don't get thrown off for misinformation. But I said something as simple on YouTube one time. Hi YouTube. That even if you get vaccinated, you could still catch COVID and spread it. And I got thrown off for misinformation. But it's been proven. Science, like
IRGC's still on there.
They even admitted, like the Taliban's on there.
Yeah,
the Ayatollah's on there saying death to Americans, death to Israel.
Exactly. They posted that. Where do you think that video was posted? The video of them killing Trump with a drone was on there.
If that's not inciting, I don't know what is, but the hell do I know? I'm just a simple guy. Maybe
But again, Ukraine's armed force can't even have pictures of what they're gone. They're done. They're pulled off of Detroit. You can't even go to their page. It just gives you this message there. Well, my thing is they can't post photos to show what Russia's people, who are just like I said from day one, is doing what they're doing. But yet I can literally get on here and watch videos from either the IRGC, Hezbollah, or Taliban openly kill somebody on here just for knowing Americans.
Openly killing and recruiting people.
Just for killing Americans, just for knowing Americans. They get
and
killed.
Guess what? That's okay. Because they're not on the right.
Yeah, that's a good segue if you're going to that next topic.
I know, like I was just sitting there letting you go because we were getting there. Finally, the big one. This is the first, like, I think after my beautiful summer last year, which, there were several weeks where I just didn't do anything because, well, I wasn't in the mood because, well, there's a certain man, last name is Rohrer. They pissed probably one of the shittiest pieces of policing I've seen ever, especially for a guy that is supposed to be like a CSI guy. Like that's what he went to school for and majored in. And anyway, that all thing happened, but then Afghanistan happened and suddenly I wasn't cussing. I was very good. I was on point on Afghanistan because none of that needed to happen. And it was a giant embarrassment and tragedy, clusterfuck. It was avoidable, whatever you want to call it. And they kept blaming it on the orange guy with the hair and his plan, but I have his plan here, so I'm going to try to get through it as fast as humanly possible. Just some bullet points, Comprehensive peace agreement is made in 4 parts. And by the way, there's a lot of weird words in there, so when I screw it up, but it's the agreement for bringing peace to Afghanistan between the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan, which is not recognized by the United States as a state and is known as the Taliban, and the United States of America. So we even told you to screw off there, but all of that. Yeah, and there's parts of first, guarantees and enforcement mechanisms that will prevent the use of the soil of Afghanistan by any group or individual against the security of the United States or its allies, which, by the way, we all saw how well that went and no one cared. Guarantees, enforcement mechanisms, and announcement of a timetable for withdrawal of all foreign forces from Afghanistan. Number 3, after the announcement of guarantees for a complete withdrawal of foreign forces and timeline in the presence of international witnesses and guarantees and the announcement in the presence of international witnesses that Afghan soil will not be used against the security of the United States and its allies, the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan, which is not recognized by the United States as a state and is known as the Taliban, yada, 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 will start intra-Afghan negotiations with Afghan sides on March 10th, 2020, which corresponds with Rajab 1441. I'm not even going to go there, on the lunar calendar, and Hoot 20, 1398 on the same calendar. But yeah, like if you read this plan, like the United States is committed to withdraw from Afghanistan all military forces of the United States, its allies, and coalition partners, including all non-diplomatic civilian personnel, private security contractors, trainers, advisors, and supporting service personnel within 14 months following announcement of this agreement, and will take the following measures in this regard. Basically, I mean, this is all very Barney style, but they will reduce the number of U.S. forces in Afghanistan to 8,600 and proportionately bring reduction in the amount of its allies and coalition forces. The United States, its allies, and the coalition will withdraw all their forces from 5 military bases. Yeah, lots of just normal stuff in there. Part 2 of that is the United States, its allies, and coalition will complete withdrawal of all remaining forces from Afghanistan within the remaining 9.5 months. The United States, its allies, and the coalition will draw all their forces from remaining bases. And there was, they went through all of, up to 5,000 prisoners of the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan, which is not recognized by the United States, in case you haven't picked up how many times they put that in here, and up to 1,000 prisoners of the other side will be released by March 10th, 2020. Everyone said that was such a bad thing. Let's not go. Don't worry, we'll get into the people that they just straight up left out because they abandoned Bagram, and then those people came and what do you know, blew us up for our first deaths in a very long time, because this is what happens when idiots are in charge. But literally, like part 2, the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan, which is not recognized, yada, 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 known as the Taliban, will not allow any of its members, other individuals, or groups, including Al Qaeda, to use the soil of Afghanistan to threaten the security of the United States and its allies, which was a crock of shit, which is why the deal was broke. And we shouldn't have left in the first place, because they were most definitely there as the Taliban was running through the country. But who's counting? Taliban will send a clear message that those who pose a threat to the security of the United States and its allies have no place in Afghanistan, and will instruct members of the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan, dear God, not to cooperate with groups or individuals threatening the security of the United States and its allies. And again, like, where the hell were they? Because that was happening for a very long time. Taliban will prevent any group or individual in Afghanistan from threatening the security of the United States and its allies, and will prevent them from recruiting, training, and fundraising, and will not host them in accordance with the commitments in this agreement, what do you call the Taliban. And before we were even out of there, they said, ISIS is back and has the capabilities to attack us on U.S. soil within 6 months. They did say that right after we left. That did happen. Taliban is committed to the deal with those seeking asylum or residence in Afghanistan according to international migration law and the commitments of this agreement. And again, who actually follows any migration law anymore. The Taliban will not provide visas, passports, travel permits, or other legal documents to those who pose a threat to the security of the United States and its allies. Cool, I'm almost done. Hey-o. Hey, I'm very easily excited, okay? Part 3. The United States will request the recognition and endorsement of the United Nations Security Council for this agreement. Let's not get into the United Nations at this point. Just we could talk about, the United States and the Taliban seek positive relations with each other and expect that the relations between the United States and the new post-settlement Afghan Islamic government, as determined by the intra-Afghan dialogue and negotiations, will be positive, and the United States will seek economic cooperation for reconstruction with the new post-settlement Afghan Islamic government, as determined by the intra-Afghan dialogue and negotiations, and will not intervene in its internal affairs, signed in Doha, Qatar, on February 29th, 2020.
Yep.
A lot of words, but I don't see how.
But it also included us keeping.
Yeah, I like all you people that said it was all his plan, like that said right there, like, well, we're going to get everyone out as long as you guys hold up your end of the bargain and don't let ISIS and Al Qaeda and all of them come back and pose any threat to us. And then like you didn't stop them from doing anything. They were like, you left Bagram and they got people out of jail and caused our people to get blown up because those people did it. And then you blew up a guy and 7 kids as retaliation to it because you're all idiots. And yeah, that's just the beginning of the giant thing. Really, the big one is Bagram. Like, we left Bagram in the middle of the night without telling anyone. And that was the most secure place we could have left from, just because how that airbase was set up so they could see everything coming from a very, very long ways away, and they weren't all crammed up to the fences like sardines. And we had all that stuff that was still there. But security wise, Bagram was the place. And instead of going to Bagram, these idiots, like when they knew it was coming, after they said they didn't know it was coming, even though it's been proven that they were getting telegrams, letters, everything saying, for the love of God, they're taking over the country. And somehow, like, we didn't know until they're knocking on the door of Kabul. They're like, hey, we're here. Oh, cool.
What's the knucklehead's name in charge of
What are we looking for? The chairman of the Joint Chief? That guy's an idiot. Looking for McChrystal,
the
Milley,
guy that said
White
that
Austin.
China, just like last week, said China is our biggest strategic threat. The guy that said it, I can't remember his name.
I could see his face. Can't tell you his name.
Well, anyways,
I was like, how about that?
If China is our truly largest strategical threat, if you want to throw everything Trump had placed away, why would you still, though, have gotten rid of Bagram Air Base? If what they're saying is truly our biggest threat, we just gave our closest choice in the history of the United States to screw them over away.
Yeah, because now they were there within a week.
We could not do from Taiwan what we could have done from Afghanistan.
China landed, at Bagram because we didn't blow it up or anything. We just left it completely intact for all of them with all of our stuff there. So good job on that one, all $86 billion. But and they didn't level it, and China was there. Now China's, all that equipment's gone, and they're getting all the lithium out of the mine so they can keep making those and shaft us even farther in the economic world. But I mean, we went over the list, some of it. I mean, there's a lot of equipment we gave up. 2,000 Humvees and MRAPs. Love me some MRAPs. 76,000 total vehicles, and we drove around in some of those Toyota pickup trucks. But you can have those things, don't worry. It'll break down within 10 seconds. We beat the dog shit out of those. But now we're people that hate us more than anyone on the planet have 45 Blackhawk helicopters, which is our most sophisticated toy. The 50 Scout attack choppers, Scan Eagle military drones.
Yeah, you gonna talk about that one for a second?
You can. I mean,
our latest drone technology, by the way.
Now China has it. And Russia, the people, and Iran, probably they're all working together. Like the new Axis of Evil has all
has
of it.
awoken.
30 military version Cessnas, 4 C-130s, 29 Brazilian-made A-29 Super Tucana ground attack aircraft.
Really nice jet.
At least 600,000 small arms, anywhere from M16s to 203s, 50 cals. I don't know how they call a 50 caliber a small arm, but the big arm. And lots of Gatling guns, which I just find is amazing that we had Gatling guns laying around.
50 cal, small arms kick, that's for sure.
Sniper systems and 50 cal, but 50 cal, that's a small arm. I want to know what you think a big arm is. Well, that's
my shoulder sometimes it's like
but howitzers, grenades, 203 rounds, mortars, 162,000 pieces of encrypted military comm gear, which is just terrifying. Thermal scopes, newest night vision scopes, air to ground rockets, ISRs, the recon equipment, laser aiming units, explosive ordnance, operational administration, encrypted cell phones and laptops, which is just, like how piss poor did you guys like
I hope our people are like actively this second building all and encrypting all new equipment, because if not,
we're screwed.
Yeah.
Pallets of millions of dollars in U.S. currency. Don't worry, Obama and them already dropped off that for Iranians years ago, so that's nothing new. The big one though, U.S. military HIIDE biometric systems, which are the handheld interagency identity detection equipment. They put it up to your face, and guess what? it comes up exactly who you are, who you worked with, who your family is, and your whole life is pretty much done because you're all inside of that thing. And we just gave them a lot of that biometrics. Now they know everyone and where they are and all of it. So
we're gonna get into this topic here in a second, but I just want to mention something real quick because you just went through that list.
Good job on
buddy's mind.
Good job on that one, giving them the biometrics.
A gentleman by the name of President Volodymyr Zelensky had a very short list of 155 millimeter artillery, 155 millimeter artillery shells, the Grad, Smirt, Tornado, the H-142, just rocket launch systems that are German or Russian based, any of them, infantry fighting vehicles or T-72 tanks, S-300 air defense systems, and some combat aircraft of some form. This whole list, just wanted to point it out, could have been fulfilled from the idiocracy in Afghanistan. Just want to point that out.
Yeah, we only gave them $86 billion worth of equipment. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, all the time.
Sorry, carry on.
Someone would lose like, a round or anything, and we'd be police, online.
You remember what happened when I showed up with extra rounds? Oh man, I thought the sky was gonna fall out.
Except you didn't have extra rounds. You had extra rounds. Yeah, but yeah, like we gave him $86 billion worth of stuff. So last time I checked, aiding and abetting our enemies is actually treason.
Yeah.
Willingly, knowingly doing it. And well, it's not like you didn't you're like, what, get the hell out of there.
What I'd like to say is that little gentleman that likes to stand up there at that post and call himself Admiral all the time, I'd like to ask him something.
Kirby?
Yeah.
Good old John.
This guy's so worried about strategical threats to the United States. Well, my friend, you work at the Pentagon. Allow me to ask you one time a question, and I want him to give me an answer it doesn't pose a strategical threat. How do you think allowing 30 military converted Cessnas, 50 scout choppers, 45 Blackhawks, and not to mention our biometric scanners and our encrypted laptop, how do you think all of that is not a strategical threat? In the hands of China, Russia, North Korea, Iran, Hezbollah, Hamas. What was the other one I told you about? The Jihad group, the Islamic Jihad group.
Yeah.
You don't think any of them 8 wouldn't love to get their hands on that? Now, I'm even starting to question Venezuela right now. I'm thinking they might try to attack us.
Hey, they are a bad actor in the world, I guess is the nice way to put that. They are. So
there's 9 of them right off the top of my head I just listed that
the Maduros,
really
right? The Maduros are down. No, they're the Venezuela. Remember, they used to be one of the richest countries on the planet with oil till they were all socialists, and now, well, it's this bad regime where they're shooting their own people and starving to
they
death.
Did that and partnered up with Russia.
Yeah, but people are dying and starving to death and getting shot by their own government. Yeah, just mowed down because they don't care. But the Maduros are doing fine.
Shout out to the people in Venezuela. We're starting to feel your problems up here.
They're doing good.
Tell you how many times I go to the grocery store and go, look at how empty this is.
Been historically proven that none of that works. But like giving them all of that, and everything that happened, over the couple, it was months it took them to take it, but it was.
I would just like him to tell me, how is that not a strategical threat?
It was not any kind of threat.
Just like those helicopters.
How's that terrible for how's that not the worst thing ever for our national security when they literally have all of it?
Our encryptions, you don't think that don't pose a threat to the actual Pentagon itself, or say any of our fighter ships?
Yeah. And they have the encryption, and literally, they just got to turn on the thing, and it's right in there with it. They can send all cut. That's
my question. When the point comes that our government right now, the people in control, allow it to get so bad that we have to then come to a point where we have to literally go in and start blowing areas up to rectify the direction of where it's going, even we're going to have to kill a lot of innocent people just to even get this to slow down. Yeah. And it's nobody sees this. You would rather wait till we have to step in and kill way more people than necessary, and not necessarily saying that we should step in with our military right now, but to a degree we should in other places, not necessarily in Ukraine. But in regards to Afghanistan and the China stuff, we should be carrying out some maybe some recon right now, but we should definitely be doing something.
I mean, whatever there is, I mean, but all of really the bad things happening now, guess what? We all did call it. For the Drews of the world that told me I was just crazy and it's just crazy. I don't want to hear any of your crazy Republican conservative conspiracy theories. You guys are all crazy. Like, well, I said Afghanistan's going to go to hell in a handbasket in the whole Middle East. And I'm literally like, think the week Joe Biden got into office, like I'm pretty sure that's when Israel was like, really? Like, what? We have 0 intent of stop. Yeah. Okay, what? There goes that. And then Afghanistan happened, which led us, how bad like that was. Guess what? We were right. Is why Russia's doing Ukraine, because they know we're not going to actually do anything.
And just a side note, everybody thinks Afghanistan is bad right now. If what I read is 100% accurate yesterday morning, IRGC is coming off the terrorist list.
Yeah, so it's going to get 1,000 times worse because
it's going to get way worse than what it is right now in the world. Afghanistan's going to get 100 times worse. The only thing I can hope is that our country, the government-wise, steps up. All this equipment we left, we should have either one taken it or said, "Hey, Mossad, come down here to Bagram now."
Just blew it up.
They should have done something. And then once everybody left between Mossad from the NRF, us, and once our Afghan allies got their stuff out of there, they should have dropped a Moab on that son of a bitch. They should have.
Should have dropped the fuel like they're supposed to. They should, when you leave, you're supposed to blow it up so it can't go right into the hands of the
enemy. Even after we take our intelligence equipment out, we're still supposed to blow it up.
Yeah, like that's part of the plan. You get all your stuff
out, and you
get all your people out, and then you blow the bastard to pieces so they can't use it.
Get your people, your equipment, your intelligence, get it all out, and then blow it up.
Oh no, but we did it intelligently. We got all the military out. We left all the people, all the intelligence, all the everything, to figure it out on their own. Just kind of keep, just like when Russia and Ukraine started.
How is there not military generals right now? I'm with Lieutenant Colonel Shelley. How is there not people sitting in prison right now for this?
I've seen people get in a lot more trouble over a single round or a carrying handle for their shitty M16. Like, I've seen people get toasted for a pair of OR gloves when they tried to.
I've seen people lose grenade pouches and shit hit the fan over that. Yeah. Way worse than this.
And all that list, and they got nothing. Like, it's amazing. But again, it's why Russia's with doing Ukraine right now. It's why China's right there and they're teaming up with them. China says they're all in with them. Russia was like, China was like, hey, what, can you hold off on actually invading until the Olympics are done? Then why, so they could still, it's the dumbest thing ever.
I do want to bring one more thing back up on that list.
They're terrible people. They're dumpster fires.
You mentioned it on the list. It says word for word, reconnaissance equipment in parentheses IRS or ISR. I want clarification on that because you and I don't know all the reconnaissance equipment, but judging by some friend of mine, I feel like I know a lot more than the average person does. And what kind of reconnaissance equipment did we lose?
I mean, with all the other stuff that we left there that they got their hands on, I bet you this is all great stuff that, we're all kind of fisted. Just saying, because we're dumb.
And the mortar rounds, nobody even knows how many really, probably.
Yeah.
Thousands. Just thousands. Oh, okay. That's comforting.
Thanks, guy.
Yeah, it is. And you know what? Here,
everyone. There's not going to be any accountability though.
Here we go. This is for our viewers out there. This is a flow chart.
Watch out.
Afghanistan, fail. Russia invades Ukraine. Boom. What comes out of that? China is definitely thinking about shitting on Taiwan. North Korea is definitely thinking about a cyber attack and potentially missile attacks on, what do you know? Japan and the US. All that boils to one thing. That shows nothing but a huge sign of weakness for the US. And you see that right there? All capital letters.
Hey, it's more than like the way that happened. Now China and them working together. Iran, like Joe's desperate, so he's going to take the idiots off the terror list. and make it so they can have a nuclear weapon within 6 months. Like that's their own people saying, if we like, it's going to be within 6 months, Iran will have a nuclear weapon. The people that are so nice to, death to Israel, death to the US, like all of our
Well,
allies, like they're going to do
so you
that,
think
which
about
is why you didn't hear any years of that. North Korea, like, holy God, Trump got North and Southern leaders of Korea. Say hello, shake hands, and be, but he got people in the Middle East that wanted to kill each
but
other.
he's the worst person in the world.
Signing agreements, and they couldn't even like look at each other for centuries. They all just wanted to kill each other. He did all of that, and it was the first time we did not have a new conflict.
What about getting Saudi Arabia and Israel to sit down together?
Like, but it's got us to, like, he got people in the same room that, like, again, North and South Korea, people in the Middle East, like Sunni, Shia, they all want to kill each other. Like he got them together. We had 4 years of no new conflict.
I'm still blown over the whole UAE, Saudi Arabia, the Abraham Accord. I'm still blown on that. Like those groups all sat down together and signed it. Yeah. Morocco.
Happily. And no new conflict for 4
years. And they're still working together without us.
Just so you guys know, like 4 years of no new conflict, that hasn't happened in, I'm trying to think here.
And thousands. It's been thousands of years. I've never gotten along.
Well, I just mean like as like for them, that's the first time they ever got them to say hello to each other. But even U.S., we didn't get into a new conflict for 4 years for the first time in decades. Like he's going to start World War III. No, he got people that
it was ending under Reagan, and I think minus 2 situations under Bush, it was pretty decent when Reagan left.
No, we still had we still got drug into. We were still in Afghanistan with the Soviets.
Well, that was why I said minus 2
and we
scenarios.
Got Black Hawk down. We had Mogadishu. We had Kosovo.
That was Clinton.
We had Kosovo, and then we were just under war for 9 million years, going here, there, and everywhere.
Honestly, dude, since Reagan left office and Bush came in, we've been on ground in conflict somewhere since then.
And he was drawing us down even in Afghanistan. Like there was no new conflict for the first time in 4 years. And like literally Israel's like, okay, what? Oh, you want to talk to Iran? Cool. We're going to knock Palestine off the planet.
Which they should. I'm at the point where if they don't, Iran's going to do it for them and they're going to knock Israel off the planet. And I'm not okay with that. I'm 100% not okay with it.
And they'll do it dumb too. Like they'll do it to make sure that nothing can survive there. Like it's just. And again,
look at the Christian monuments in Iraq. The Iran, the what was the one that was up in the side of those caverns? The big one. And they that was the Taliban's doing.
Yeah. There's no good actors, and I mean the second Trump's gone, like suddenly they start their march towards Kabul to take the whole country. Like we're having problems with oil because let's just say it how it is, because he shut down all. You can have all the land leases you want. Tell me how many drilling permits are actually available. But like this is just like Iran. They're willing to give them a nuke deal and take those dudes off the terror watch list, try to get more oil from people that are chanting death to America, death to Iran. And they won't even talk to us.
They don't even just chant it.
They won't even, I know they like the only way we can even communicate with the Iranians to get oil
is through
the
Russia.
Russians, who were calling genocidal maniacs and giving weapons to the side that they're fighting against because they won't talk to us, but so we have to use them as the.
And I might add, what did Russia do 2 days ago?
The middle man
came out openly and said, conversations are done. They're at a deadlock. Yeah. Russia said that, so that means they're done. They're gonna kill everyone.
Yeah, it's just, and we all saw it coming. It's weakness. Like we all said it was going to happen. Well, the Middle East, they're screwed, but China, what Russia's going to move on someone else. Well, I don't know, because Chechnya happened under our dear friend Bill Clinton, and then everything he did in Syria with President Bashar, Assad, wherever Bashir Assad is,
under Obama.
Yeah, I'm saying he did that and Crimea under him, and then there's 4 years of nothing, and then Joe gets into office, and less than a year later, there he is, ramped up, just sitting there waiting on Ukraine's border. Oh, what? He's not going to invade. We're going to sanction him. Yeah. Good luck. Your microphone's off. He did it on purpose. Touche. Smart man. But Yeah. Like they kept doing just all that level of just, and we all saw it coming. Like, again, we're now trying to do business and take terrorists off a watch list and make nukes. There you go. Because we need oil and you could just, or work with the Maduros in Venezuela that hate us, or, like everyone that has, like Russia, who we're doing so good to piss off right now, even though they were only, what, 8% of our, like that 8% could easily be made up from Canada or ourselves. And it's not going to make like a 60-cent jump overnight in gas prices. Like that, just
Funny you say that,
physically impossible. And if we were making it
because
all
people want to
here,
have this argument. The percentage we use from Russia,
doesn't
had
make
they
that
not came into office and on day one shut down the Keystone pipeline, would already be
flowing.
currently covered if it was still underway.
Yeah, like it would have been all
It
but
would have
done.
been covered, and we
Pipeline,
could have walked away from Russia and never even felt it.
yeah, pipeline would be done by now. Our pipeline.
You'd have almost 1 million barrels a day flowing, or
Yeah,
whatever
but
they said it was.
Guess what? People are just for transport. They're not drilling any. What? They're just literal pipes with, I'm pretty sure, some valves attached to open and close them off. To go.
You know what the biggest environmental hazard they cause is? Me having to go out and sweat to pick up the paint when I clean it up so I can repaint it.
Huh. Like it.
That's it.
Like it's for how many pipelines there are. There's very few leaks.
There's no gas emission.
Yeah.
There's no
There's very
exhaust.
there's very few times where there's leaks, and when there are leaks, you can't miss it. Yeah.
Oh, you won't miss it. It'll be immediately found.
There's people watching it at all times, but he did approve. Yeah, he approved Russia's because he said without the pipeline, it would hurt their economy. Well,
I'm just glad to see Germany said, "Yeah, we're done." Nope, thanks anyways though.
But yeah, like
I got 80% done with it, and Germany's like, "Yeah, have fun with that."
They're blaming it on like everyone else, and again, North Korea doing all kinds of tests again. I think China's at least taking a step back and looking at the whole Taiwan thing before they do it, just with how piss poor this whole entire, like, this thing's been.
Only positive out of that scenario with the fuel over there in Nord Stream 2 is since Germany has said, "Yeah, we're done. Good luck, fly a kite," when it was between 80 and 90% done.
But yeah,
they said, "No, we're good. We don't need your stuff no more." Watch.
Like,
as soon as Israel starts building their gas line to deliver natural gas over to Europe, Germany and Israel are going to have to fight Russia. There's no way around it. It's going to bring us into it. No matter
it's going to happen pretty much regardless. It's going to happen
because right now Russia and Israel are starting to do this.
Yeah, I mean,
look at Syria. They told Israel a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, they couldn't do any launches anymore. Guess what? Syria is still receiving the Israeli launches, the Israeli attacks, because Israel knows if we stop, we die.
Yeah, which is,
sorry, Russia,
my biggest problem with all of them working together. And again, it all comes back to all of that. If they didn't see so much weakness, but like working on the thing with Iran has to get oil and to get all of that, which means we were giving them money, lots of money directly to get the stuff. That also means that, again, people you've mentioned, like that Israeli group, Hezbollah, Hamas, the greatest state sponsor of
Hezbollah. I'm glad you brought them up.
On the planet, we're going to start giving them money. Where do you think the money is going to go? To the people that are attacking our only ally in the Middle East, or only actual ally in the Middle East. Like they're trying to wipe them off the planet. You could give them a nuke, so they really could. And you're taking the people that are going around in Iraq and everywhere else, just killing people at the masses that group off the terror list because you have bad domestic energy policies, and now you're going shit because it happened even just as fast as all of us said it was going to.
And it's compounded by the Afghanistan factor, because now look what Hezbollah is doing. They're funding. First of all, I got back up. They no longer just have PGMs, which is the precision guided missiles. They have PGMs. They have ATG missiles. They have long range Horizon missiles now, which are very efficient. They have all of this provided by Iran.
Yeah.
Okay. Hezbollah is now, because they're so powerful at this point because of Iran, they're now supplying forms of artillery to the Russians. So just think about that. Ukraine is receiving suppression and deaths at the hands of the Russians on behalf of Hezbollah. Because guess what they do in Ukraine? They believe in God in a non-dictatorship way. Russia is a dictatorship, and they believe it in a messed up Orthodox way. They've I don't know how they've done it, but they've taken the ideology of an Orthodox ministry and put it into a tyrannical autocracy type setup. I don't understand how it works because I don't, obviously I'm not a communist, so I can't understand it like that. But
yeah,
I don't understand how they can take an Orthodox ministry of a Christian faith and turn it into that. But anyways, but they are working with Hezbollah, who is out to kill anything Christian, anything Judeo-Christianity, any of it. That's Catholics, Romans, that's Ukrainians, because they believe in God that doesn't believe in killing everyone that's not looking like them. I mean, you got all these countries that is about to become, in some way, shape, or form, supported by Hezbollah, which is ran by Iran and funded by Iran. Come on.
We're trying to give them more money to kill.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's my whole point.
We're at the point now. Our allies, who Joe said, that Trump that Trump said he ruined our relationships and he was going to rebuild them, and now you're trying to fund people that want to kill all of our allies.
This is what Iran is doing
with nukes.
With their stance right now, and Russia doing what they're doing, and China where they're at, Iran is trying to. Everybody's worried about China becoming the next global dude. No, Iran's trying to do it right now. Think about it. Think about what they're doing. How much fuel and oil they control. They're trying in numerous countries, not just one or two. We're talking a half dozen, if not more countries. They are literally giving these terrorist groups, hey, how many rockets need to be there tomorrow? How many rockets need to be there tomorrow? How many drones need to be there tomorrow? And we're not talking about 5 or 10 drones. We're talking hundreds at a time of these drones that they're sending that are very dangerous. Granted, when it comes to the Ukraine thing, we're sending some of those ones that we got, but those new ones are great and all, but they're not reusable. When they come down and hit, it's over.
Kaboom.
Okay, so the Switchblade drone's good as far as effective bombing, but it's not reusable, so you got that part of it. They're using the Bukhara drones, which the lady from the Bukhara drone company is telling them that they could potentially use that for over-the-horizon usage. Well, if they start knocking down the drones, is Turkey going to be able to supply their drone quantity? I mean, are they going to be able to keep up with a full-on war using drones as your main air support? Is Turkey going to be able to supply that? And then that brings up another question. How will that affect Turkey's supply for the rest of the people that they're involved with through NATO? I mean, there's a lot to that. And that brings up the other thing right now. You got these people want to do this, these people want to supply this here. If we're going to, which I'm all for all of our NATO allies shipping Russian equipment to Ukraine for the Ukrainians to use, because that's what they're trained on primarily. Yeah. Granted, right now they're doing a full-on train-the-trainer program for Ukraine. They're doing 5 guys at a time, and they're fully training them on U.S. equipment. But for that to implement across their military, that's going to take a year.
Forever.
It's going to be a year. I mean, it's going to be a year because
they on the short side.
Implement it. They give a shit because they want to live.
A year. So they're going to learn it. A year on the short side, though. That's a short side of it. To get everyone it'll be a continuously evolving situation. Let's go and call it.
But so anyways, they're literally trying to insert their global world, like they're trying to literally do a global domination and insert themselves to the point where, in some form or fashion, every country's gonna have to rely on Iran. To hell with China, chips. Iran's gonna control it. Like and Russia's gonna help them. You don't see China arguing with them. And North Korea, well, that little pudgy, you know what? That guy.
It's not. He'll Clinton you.
He's got, what is it now? He's up to, is it 16? I think it's either 16 or 18 rockets they've launched this year.
They had the hypersonic missiles too that everyone's been launching.
Yeah.
That somehow our intelligence completely missed that all of our enemy had hypersonic missiles that were orbiting the planet. That's good that you guys missed that. I mean, I know white rage and getting extremists and getting white rage out of the military is important, but how about our enemies having hypersonic missiles and everything in Afghanistan and like all that? About we worry about things that are actually like important and going to keep us all from dying.
Exactly. Well, and the other part that bothers me about it is, like, you think about it, if you have this situation where so much of our technology in the last 8 months has been released, you have a small window left to literally take action and either retrieve it or eliminate it. Now, I understand there's snowflakes. It's going to take that the absolute wrong way. But what that means is they're going to have to go in there and either retrieve our equipment back from whoever's got it, or they're going to have to blow it up. Now, does that mean we're going to possibly be in a conflict with somebody? Yeah. But guess what? Whether we want to admit it or not, the shit they're doing in Ukraine right now at the hands of Russia is right now being blamed this whole last 4 days by Russia on us. We're being blamed for what they're doing in Ukraine right now.
Blame
Hey,
for everything.
people, you're already in that war, whether you want to be or not. You better get ready.
You're just not smart enough to realize it.
And what are they going to do?
We already told you.
Just like with Afghanistan, you can't go. You can't go back. What you've done is already. What you did is already done. They can't go back. They're not going to be able to just go back into Afghanistan and pick up where they left off. You fucked that one up. China's got our shit now.
If I could turn back time.
Exactly.
You're welcome.
Sheriff's probably going, I told you, idiots.
I'm sorry. Probably not, actually. I can't believe this is happening. Well, you should listen to us uneducated idiots. Why? Because believe it or not, we actually read history and pay attention and
I feel
know a
like
thing or two about a thing or two.
When it comes to Afghanistan, they've already screwed up and they're at a point now where they can't go back on it. The only option they have left is to rethink where they are currently situated in the Middle East, in Europe. You got Europe covered for the Ukraine thing. You're screwing up in the Middle East. You need to rebolster and turn the Iraq back into the Marine Corps district and let the Marine Corps take Iraq over. And when I say that, I know that means there'll be some people dying a little bit more often. But I assure you, Syria, if they just let the Marine Corps do their thing in Iraq, like they are good at doing, we can solve the Syria situation real quick. And I don't take kindly to our American personnel being blown up in Iraq last week again and in Syria, and nothing's happening.
Yeah, I don't take too kindly to it, but I don't even get offended by it anymore. It's like I'm just waiting for
Anyways,
it.
sorry.
So what are they going to do?
Back to what we were talking about, though.
What are they going to do?
Also,
nothing. That's what they do. They do nothing.
They won't do anything.
They talk a lot. They have a lot of
Feel bad
words.
for people
They say a lot of things. No matter what, no matter what the hell the topic is, they say a lot of things, but don't actually ever really do anything. At least not until like we're 8 months too late to do anything.
No, I mean, Afghanistan's a great example.
Afghanistan, the shipping problem, energy problem, like they wait until it's like 8 months to a year plus too late, and then
Sean Penn's an example that's going to say everything right there. If that guy can go, we're wrong. There's a problem coming from him.
Especially from him. Especially. Not against Sean Penn. Yeah.
But for him to sit there and do an interview with, out of all people, Sean Hannity, and say, I don't like your views. I don't necessarily care for you. But for them two to sit and end the conversation agreeing that we should have no boots in the ground, but we should really destroy Russia. That right there sets the scene of how bad it truly is over there. You never get somebody like Sean Penn to agree with somebody like us that would think like us or even have anything close to our views. It just don't work like that in the world that we live in today.
Because he thinks he's better than us, but big bad actor, know everything.
Ukraine, though, speaking of that, side note real quick. Where'd the other sheet go?
I don't fucking know. You need to find that page. And I'm just going to stop now.
The missiles that North Korea, I'm going to go back to that for a second. Hold on, Ukraine. Those missiles they're testing over there, we haven't talked to nobody. We haven't done anything. They went over there.
I don't ever do anything.
Bad things left unattended get worse.
Yeah.
I just want to put that out there.
They're just going to do what we always did. Give them billions of dollars of cash to stop their missile program and watch them continue to build and test missiles all the time. Because that's what we do.
So you got went over our list of what we
Until
left
Trump
at.
got involved. He's like, what? No, really, stop. Why? Stop.
Yeah, he did.
And guess what? They kind of stopped. Anyway, carry on.
Right there, right there. That's the thing I was talking about right there. The lady from Bayraktar, the drones. They said that would be more than enough, teamed with the howitzers and the other ground-based artillery and radars, to more effectively respond and hurt Russian forces at range without putting themselves in a vulnerable spot. That's great and all, but what happens when they send in fighter jets to take out your drones and you ain't got no fighter jets that's going to be efficient? Because if you send your fleet out and you only got a few backups, what do you do when your backups are gone because you have to replace the ones in the fleet and there's no supply coming in? That is all he was getting at with the fighter jets. And everybody's acting like, oh, he wants us to give him weapons to go into Russia. The dude just wants to defend his own airspace. He's going to need more jets. He's going to need parts. Like, there's no way
around it.
Like, you can't avoid that in any conflict or war.
You can't avoid that normal day in the military, let alone when you're getting shot at and blown up.
That bothers me a little bit.
They have plenty of them. Yeah. What happens when they start losing some of them?
Okay. Where's those numbers? I can tell you.
Look who it's coming from. I mean, yeah, look at the great people that are doing all the talking right now. Not too much intelligence involved in that whole entire thing.
On that list we were talking about,
you just made a list.
Yeah. 800 Stinger aircrafts, 2,000 javelins, 1,000 light anti-armor weapons, 6,000 AT armor systems, 100,000 tactical unmanned aerial systems, 100 grenade launchers, 5,000 rifles, 1,000 pistols, 400 machine guns, 400 shotguns, over 20 million rounds of small arms ammunition and grenade launcher and mortar rounds, 25,000 sets of armor for body, 25,000 helmets. In addition to the other list that was made with another 600 Stinger anti-aircraft missiles, 2,600 javelins, 5 Mi-17 helicopters, which got boosted to 16.
Death. It's okay. I feel you.
16 armed helicopters, 3 patrol boats, which that's what we talked about yesterday. I'm a little confused in the 3 boats because in our other documents we've been looking at, it's somehow unmanned. So I'm curious. I'm excited almost to see what that is.
I'm excited to see what it is, but the idiots involved with it.
Yeah.
Carry on.
4 counter artillery and counter unmanned aerial tracking radars, 4 counter mortar radar systems. I kind of want to see that. 200 grenade launchers and ammunition, 200 shotguns, 200 machine guns, nearly 40 more million rounds of small arms ammunition, 70 Humvees, secure communications, medical equipment, ordnance disposal equipment, and satellite capabilities for analysis and tracking.
I just want to just ask,
that was in March.
As they said that, shotguns are defensive weapons. I hate to break it to you.
So 660.
If you're to the point where you're using a shotgun as you've lost the battle. What that is.
Well, they're building door kickers. What they're doing, they're building teams of door kickers.
Yeah,
which is kudos on them. They're building their own little Marine Corps force. They do it.
But these aren't offensive weapons. I'm sitting there listening to it as he's going off, going.
Sure sounds offensive.
We're giving them this many handguns. Okay, well, I could see that. And shotguns, yeah, but you start getting to some of those things. Like, yeah, that's kind of off. Yeah, that's offense. You could put it. Well, we can't give them more because we don't want to drag us into the conflict. Like, bruh.
Well, it gets better.
You're giving them weapons and equipment to blow up their tanks and their airplanes. What? I hate to break it to you. I'm pretty sure that is a sign of aggression and dragging us into. We're already there.
Yep.
I'm pulling a country song
Take a
out of
look
my
around. We're getting blown up and you don't even know it. Yep. Get it. I got it.
I'm pulling out country
And then
lines.
on April 13th, this was more equipment that was added to that stockpile. 10 more AN/TPQ-36 counter artillery radars. 10 more. 2 AN/MPQ-64 Centennial air surveillance radars, which is for the fighter jets.
Yeah.
Which they only need 2 of them for the size of their country, but hey, whatever. They're gonna have like 10 now. 300 more Switchblade drones, 500 Javelin anti-tank missiles added to what was already given.
That's
200 armored personnel carriers. M113s we're talking about.
Yeah.
Another more 100 Humvees added to that list. The helicopters we already talked about.
Send them all the garbage that we already, send them all the ragtop Humvees. It's to be a dick.
The to be determined vessels. I'm interested to see what those are.
Two TBDs.
There's 3 of them.
Well, how the hell do you guys made a list? We're getting to 3 vehicles to be determined. What the like you guys were in there for that long coming up with this, and you're allowed to figure it
out. 30 more sets of body armor and helmets.
30.
2,000 more optics, 2,000 more rangefinders. C4 and other demolition equipment was added as on top of what they were already going to give them. Also, a metric shit ton of M18A1 Claymore anti-personnel mines. It's getting ready to get interesting for Russia. On top of that, though, a request that was given, but not necessarily like a direct request for what they wanted, just they asked for supplies and assistance in equipment against chemical, radiological, and nuclear contaminants.
CBRN.
If they're having to have NBC shit and all of that like good stuff that goes with it.
Here comes the CBRN guys, the chemical, biological, nuclear.
That tells you they're already used something, which you already said that. Just look at those images from the clouds. Sorry, you don't get a bronze color from a normal missile.
They already admitted that they were using those. What were those? The ones that created a giant fireball after they explode. Because they explode, they release the gas and then it ignites. And yeah, it'll come to me. We'll be done with this when it comes to me, but they're already doing all kinds of
So it'll be interesting to see where it goes after that.
They were gassing people in Afghanistan years ago, but they're not afraid to do it. They don't care. And guess what happened? Nothing. Because they kept crossing the red line, and Obama just kept creating new red lines instead of doing anything about it, which is why they were ready to go when all of this started, because they knew exactly what they would get.
Yep.
Chaos, destruction, and no spines. At all.
Exactly. And honestly, the only way they're going to get out of the scenario they got going now at
there's way too many scenarios.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of how I word that.
It's amazing how many scenarios we managed to fall into in a year. Damn.
They got the other problem of it is the government is keep flying. Like they keep saying, oh, there's none of this left here, none of this there, no people's left here. Well, when you say there's less than 100 people left in Afghanistan, and then dude comes on there and tells you there is more than 100,000 U.S. people and allies of ours left in Afghanistan.
Yeah, I loved how the number.
No offense, but you get a guy on a TV that's from a sniper unit or from a SEAL unit or a Ranger unit or in Marine Corps Recon or Marine Corps Infantry and says, hey, there's this still there. Who do you think the American people is going to believe first, the government or the people on the ground?
Well, I mean,
the average American first. People, the average American, not
tens of millions of people. Tens of millions of people still think, still completely approve with Joe Biden's handling of everything and think it's all everyone else's fault, like they say. So actually, anyone with the brain, everyone else with the brain figured it out. I mean, everyone else just keeps telling us that we're all conspiracy theorists. Like, well, why? Because we called it. Like, I don't think it's a conspiracy theory when I say it's going to happen, and then it happens. Why? You told me it wasn't going to happen. I was crazy. But that's actually conspiracy. But me being crazy, conspiracy theory. I mean, I am crazy, but I'm right. I'm right way too much to anyone to call me a conspiracy theorist. anymore. It all keeps happening.
Who did I say that to the other day? I was like, you're calling me this and that. I sure do know what the fuck I'm talking about a lot when you say that.
I sure seem to be right a lot. And it's a theory. It's an educated theory based on actual facts, not just what some asshole on the TV told you. I look at facts. I read stuff.
Well, that's like, who was I telling you? I was like, if you just read the actual paperwork, just read it. You'll learn that you're slightly off on what.
All right. No. Oh, no. Drew's gone after me. We were talking about the Georgia voting bill one time. He's like, well, because it's racist, this and the other. It's like, what? It added more early voting days. It made drop boxes legal just outside of things that requires voter ID. Like, so apparently you didn't read it. No, apparently you didn't read it. It's all right. Like, just stop talking, Drew. What? Like, I know voter ID. You need an ID to do everything else, but having one to vote is terrible.
Candace Owens, dude.
See this thing? Just read.
She goes, you have to have an ID to ride rides sometimes. You have to have an ID to get on sometimes in a subway, even
you have to have an ID to get into the DNC when they're having their big convention. You have to have a photo ID to prove who the hell you are and make sure you're not some kind of crackpot. Why? Like, yeah, that'll be for next week. We can have a whole voting day. Sporting
tickets. You gotta show your ID to get them sons of bitches when you go to the booth. We'll call.
Yeah, that's just. We'll get into all of that, next week. It's just people just read stuff and listen to us because it means.
I forgot to say this. Title 42. I want people to understand it's not just COVID that fell into that medical category that people were fighting and complaining about. There's a lot of other diseases that come from the third world countries.
There's a lot of things that were thrown in there, like lots of bad things that we've eradicated. Things we've because they're third world shitholes and they come here with all kinds of bad things.
Well, it bothers me because people go, oh, well, we've been able to manage it here. Yes, we've managed it here because we all care. We have the ability to do it. Everybody that's coming here doesn't necessarily come here from a country that has one, the medical system to do it, or two, the government that cares enough to do it, or three, enough money period in the country to be able to do it.
Yeah, like it's malaria, like there's all kinds of things that are on that list, which is why I say it's not racist. I mean, it's just smart because all it takes is one person. Well, you can have an outbreak of something really, really bad, really, really, really fast. But
not going to go into details on it, but I just want Joe to know that there's a lot of things that go into other countries. There's a lot of things that go into securing those countries. And we seem to be very heavily included in those.
I just want to know why we
struggle with one thing for our own country.
Which is why we worry about securing everyone else's border, but we don't worry about securing.
When I worry about somebody else's border, can we worry about Panama's border?
Or just our own in general? Can we just put a small amount of effort into just, but anyway.
Yes and no, but at the same time, I also look at it like this. How much money do we have invested in Panama Canal?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I want a wall south of that Panama country. We've got a lot of money invested from Panama to here.
Let's just start by finishing our wall. It's the cheapest thing you could do. The money's it's already paid for, literally. It's just sitting there. You can't touch it for anything else because it's already been allocated. It's there.
I still say Abbott should just grab what he needs left to finish his wall and do it. I don't care. They want to blame somebody. He can say, I was sitting on the excavator loading the materials onto the truck to go to Texas. I don't care. If you want, I'll actually come down here and I'll do it for free. You just provide me an excavator. I'll load it up and I'll be the one guilty for it.
No,
but... Come on, Biden. Let's go. I'll take the administration on. I will load the equipment up to do it.
Don't worry, it's all still sitting down there. You don't have to load anything up. It's all just sitting there starting. Like they didn't move anything.
Well, I'm saying load it on their trucks to take it to where it needs to be installed.
No, it's don't worry. Like they have just field, like it's all right there, ready to go up. It's just
you should see the one at the port.
There's not a lot to, it's just, but again, it's for another day. There's no point going on another. It's just not worth the time of day because, don't worry, it'll keep getting dumber. Like we'll get back into the border, let's say mid-May when the numbers actually come out because it takes them, like 2 years to come out with anything. They had to break it to you.
Probably
you have people that get entered into people get entered into the computer every day. You know how many are there. Doesn't take that long. Anyway, but yeah.
That's just it. On the end of the month. So you're telling me the first business day of the month they come in, they can't go, okay.
There's some numbers they don't. Hey, there's some
Say
stats I've tried to look up that they don't update for like 10 months. I'm like 10 months. What you guys are just trying to get through the next thing and just hope that no one, like, you're just trying to bury stuff because it's that bad. But that's, yeah, it's the way it is. But regardless of all that, all of this is everything right now, and the world's going to keep getting worse, is caused by great weakness and stupidity
this
and
or decision.
and ideology that actually is just words and doesn't actually have any substance to help anybody. Because it sounds great, but you can say all the stuff you want. Yeah, hope in one hand, talk in one hand, shit in the other. Well, right now the hand is way more full of shit than anything that anyone was promised, and it's just going to keep getting worse because they're going to keep saying they're going to do things just to help get people to vote for them, which is going to make it even worse. And then somehow I'm still going to get blamed for it, or Putin, or whoever, President Xi, whoever they're going to blame next week. I don't know. Right now it's just Putin's fault, even though we were all screwed before that. But that's where I'm going to leave it
Oh,
for the
and
week.
this morning, Ukraine time, this morning, that offensive for Russia started in the eastern side. This morning, sun up over there is when it started.
Well, see how it all works out for
So the
them.
eastern offensive has started.
Phase 2, I believe, is what they called it. But yeah, that's
Oh.
where I'm going to leave
Yeah.
me for the week.
Yeah.
Until Friday, at least. I'll be back Friday.
Oh yeah,
It'll be-
definitely. It'll be interesting.
I'll have a lot to talk about, but yeah, we'll have that and probably some, all the voting stuff. Just because again, there are so many laws broke last year, so many constitutional laws broken last year, so many states broke. How the hell we had state supreme courts and attorney generals making laws the day before an election, which I hate. Last time I checked, they don't have the authority to make
Well, it's
anything, but they did it. So there's a lot to talk about next week. So I'm gonna leave it there. There's your preview, motherfuckers. Because there's a lot. Like just between Pennsylvania and Michigan, we could talk for about 3 years because they just kept going and going and going.
it's the elections in Michigan and Pennsylvania. We could have a full day's conversation on it and go more.
Yeah. So we'll leave that for next week, though. So I'll say thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Subscribe to the thing. Follow it on all those platforms. Share out the audio on Facebook. Go on there, share the audio. Yeah, the show actually gets, I can tabulate all the audio and keep track of it. I get like my whopping 3 cents per, million listens, but hey, it helps. And it's mostly share it out and get the thing going. Because we didn't lie about anything we just said. Those are all legit, like actual like documents that we read straight from the federal government. So as much as you don't like it, we're not making this shit up. All the people you're listening to on TV, they're making the shit up.
Yeah. Anyone that questions it,
I got it.
We can prove it came from the federal government or through a federal government news source. So
we got you, homies. But
especially on those numbers.
So again, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to share it out. We'll be back next Wednesday for another one. And Walter will be joining. He will every Friday morning for the racing show. Lots of good racing this weekend. So heads up for that too. And I'll be back
Stay
tomorrow.
Out of trouble. Stay safe.
Don't
Happy
be
420.
Oh yeah. Enjoy the rest of your day, Walter. I know you will. He has a ceremony, he's all kinds of stuff he has to do. So till next week, my friends, enjoy yourself and peace.